So what we're going to delve into right now is power move number 3, or how you create proper width in the golf swing using centrifugal force. So I know it sounds like a lot of big words, but what we're saying here is we don't want to make a golf swing where the club stays really close to us. Because as long as the club stays close to us, there's no room to create a lot of speed. But the last thing we want to be doing is telling a player, hey, I want you to create a lot of extension in the golf swing. Because if I get here trying to reach on the way back, my wrist angle has just changed, and oftentimes that will create a sway off the golf ball.
Your weight gets too far over, you can't get back.
No question. You get too far over this way, then you struggle getting back. So that's where creating an extended takeaway is not the greatest thing, because my wrist angles will then change with it. So the important thing to realize is that everything comes back down to a 2-inch move. Now there are two forces so far we've talked about. We talked about centripetal force, which basically is saying as long as I pull the shoulder back, the club's turning around my body. We also talk about gravity, which is for as long as I have that secondary tilt and I rotate, I'm naturally going to shift more pressure into my trail side using that second power move. And so the third thing we're talking about is something known as elevation, which is talking about how the arms work in the golf swing as a way to create more extension, more width, and with it more power. But yet again, it is nothing more than a symptom. So talking about what the arms do in the golf swing, of course I see nobody that I work with on tour make a golf swing where the club stays perpendicular to their spine. Nobody swings that way, even though they're turning their shoulders around their body. Why? And so this is nothing more than an element of physics known as centrifugal force. So pardon me for looking silly, but if I hold the club out in front of me, right, and I spin around in a circle, that club is not going to stay here, right? As I rotate, what is the club going to want to do? It's going to go out. If I rotate, the club's going to work further away from me. When you swing a golf club, the arms do the same thing. My arms don't stay here. They go out. And they go out because of the rotation. If I'm grabbing this big bucket of balls, if I get here and I'm in my golf posture and I rotate, right, this bucket of balls is not going to want to stay the same distance from me if I turn. What's it going to want to do? It's going to want to go out. It's going to want to get further away from me. And so because the club and my arms have mass, as I turn, they're going to want to go more out. That's what creates space between my arms and my body. And from here, this is what allows you to fold the right elbow underneath, which is power move number 4, what we're going to talk about in the next video. And so for as long as you don't allow elevation to occur, the same way you did not allow your pressure shift to occur, there's power loss associated. That's why what we call our company is Axis Golf. We're literally talking about how to unify anatomy and physics to create more power and efficiency in the golf swing. And so what we're talking about is how the arms work. And so while you rotate, the arms actually work in front of you. The arms do this, but not because you're trying to push the club out in front of you, but it happens because of the turn itself. So what I want you guys to do is we're going to throw an extra layer on that one golf ball drill we were doing before, which is if I get here, get into my posture, shoulder engagement, primary tilt, secondary tilt. So what we're talking about so far is stacking on top of the same drill. First drill we had was the rotation drill. We just learned how to rotate from the scapula. Next drill is an adaptation of that, where we said, as you pull from the shoulder blade, let the pressure shift into your trail side. The third iteration of that is we want to go ahead and toss the golf ball behind me. Because if I toss it, there's my elevation. I would not toss it by lifting the arms up by doing this. I would not toss it very far. I'm literally incorporating rotation with elevation, which is naturally what the club wants to do because it has mass.
So your left bicep is actually creating a little bit of space.
A space, 100%.
Yeah, I always used to keep this in there.
No question. Which is, so if I'm swinging a golf club with my elbows against my sides, or somebody puts a towel under my arms, that's a major source of power loss. I don't see anybody on tour swinging the golf club with their arms against their body like this. Every single one of them has space. You need space not only to create more width for more power, but you need space to allow that right arm to fold. For those of us who have had the issue in the past where the club gets really inside, it's probably occurring not just because we're using more hands in the backswing, but we're stopping elevation from occurring. And so, if that makes sense. And so the reason why you would not create any elevation in your golf swing before if you're never rotating. Because if I'm going ahead and explaining what elevation is a little bit more succinctly, we have two forces at play. Not to get too deep in physics, I know it's been a while since you take a physics class, it may be a little bit more, closer, less removed for you, but if I'm spinning this head cover around in a circle, what causes this to spin is me pulling in the opposite direction. That's what brings the club back, which is the pulling action of the right shoulder. That's what sends the club here.
Right.
Now, there's also a force known as centrifugal force, which is the force that this object applies back on me, which is saying if I get here, if I spin the head cover around in a circle, and if I let go, it's going to go flying. The same way, if I get here and hold this driver, if I rotate and let go, the driver is going to go flying. As I rotate, that club has mass, and it's applying a force back on me. Okay. So as I turn, wherever the club wants to go is where it should go. And even already with both of you, just focus on the rotation, I didn't see either of you make a golf swing with the club working around the body. The reason why is you already allowed elevation to occur. And so I want you to give you a couple of drills. So I want you to grab a golf ball. We're going to get into our posture, primary tilt back, rotate, and we're going to go ahead and just to feel what elevation is, it's nothing more than the arms working up in front of the body like this. So I want you to elevate the arms. Good. So we want to create the condition by which, that's kind of excessive, but that's okay. That space that we're creating here, good, feel that? That has to happen over the course of your golf swing. So as you turn,
I used to come in and get this.
for sure, that's where you lost a lot of your power.
Ah.
And so as you turn, exactly, so now you have space there. Awesome. That's how you create width or extension in the golf swing. So let's see a couple. Awesome. So you see that little bit of space that's created there? Awesome. So again, if you were stopping elevation, the golf swing would look like this.
Yeah.
Right?
Then you get inside. Right.
Then you get inside, the club gets across the line, elbow starts flying, etc. But if you rotate, let the club go wherever it wants to go, there's your width. And that's what allows you to get the trail arm to fold underneath. The reason why people have issues coming across the line at the top of their swing, they get inside, the shoulder comes out of their socket, then they lift. That's where that flying trail elbow comes from. So what I want you each to do, I want you to go ahead and hold this bucket as if you're holding a golf ball. Good. So I want you to go ahead just to feel this. Good. Now as you rotate, see how the bucket's going to get further away from you? Mm-hmm. See how the bucket itself applies the force that where you want to create the space there. So we're going to have you do that 3 times. So as you rotate, awesome. A little bit quicker if you could. There you go. Awesome. Have you do it once. No, it's heavy, but that's the point. Good. So see how that bucket's applying force to you? That's creating width. The club is doing the same thing. This is a little bit more exaggerated since there's more mass here, but if you're holding a big heavy medicine ball and you're rotating, the medicine ball is not going to stay here. It's going to want to get further away. This is happening as a symptom of you turning. I'm not saying, hey, let me get the arms going out and then in front of me while I turn. It's a byproduct of just rotating and letting the club go where it's going to go.
So you're allowing
it. So yet again, what we're talking about so far is the entire golf swing is based upon yet again a 2-inch move of a pulling action of your shoulder blade.
It's mind-blowing.
Say it again?
It's mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing? Well, these are things that we want to understand if we want to create a little bit more power and speed. And what I would not say is, I would not say to an instructor they're wrong to get somebody lifting the club more in front of them. But are you focusing on the symptom or the fundamental?
Okay.
There you go. There you go. So essentially what's happening is, so go and hold the club for a second just to show. Yeah, hold your club.
Separation.
That's how you create the separation.
Oh,
yes. So as you turn, the arms work out. Yep. But it happens just because of the turn.
Oh, okay.
There you go. That's your width.
I feel a little bit of movement with my arms trying to elevate a little bit.
No question.
I'm forcing it.
No, you're not forcing
But
it.
I'm allowing it.
You're allowing it to happen, which is a big difference. There's nothing that you can do that will be more consistent than the laws of physics.
Okay.
And so, again, the feeling of saying, hey, how much should I elevate the club? Completely erroneous. Just let it happen. Okay. And for the first member, you're allowing it to happen because you're creating the centrifugal force, which creates centrifugal force. So this would not happen until you started pulling with the right shoulder blade. If you're pushing from the left, that would never happen either.
Okay. Because it gets too close to you.
100%, because this arm gets too close and they're swaying off the golf ball.
Wow.
So what we're going to have you guys do is hold the golf ball in between the palms of your hand. And whereby previously, what we might have seen with you is a little bit more inside and across the line. If you let yourself elevate, we have so much more room for the trail arm to fold. Awesome. So I'm going to stand behind you, and I just want you to toss that golf ball to me. Awesome. So what you just did there, you just created rotation with the weight shift with elevation. Awesome.
Wow.
Now do the same thing with the driver. Awesome. So I want you to go ahead and toss that golf ball. There you go. Beautiful. And there's your width. Beautiful. One more time. Awesome. So I want you to do the same thing with the driver 3 times. We're going to have each of you take a rip. As we're going ahead, we're stacking all these skill sets on top of each other.
Okay.
Awesome. So see, you're allowing the width to occur. So far we're stacking 3 skill sets. We're stacking the pulling of the shoulder, which creates the pressure shift into trail side. And as long as you pull, we will create a little bit of elevation. Awesome. So again, it's not about manipulating how high should I have the club in the top of my backswing. It's saying it's a natural result of the stuff we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Make some sense?
Of course.
All right, let's have you hit one more each, but let's switch spots just to show. So just to break these ideas down, the arms do this in the backswing. They lift in front of us. So what that looks like, statically breaking these things down to bite-sized pieces, is as I turn, the arms do that, exactly. That's more than what we're looking for, but that space has to be created. Good.
Yeah.
So as you turn, good, the club is allowed to work out, exactly. That's happening just because of the turn. See how the club wants to, there you go.
Yep.
The club doesn't want to stay here. It wants
No.
to go out. Now that you're turning for the first time ever. Awesome. Different? What we're doing here is we're getting the body, awesome D. We're getting the body literally out of your own way.
Yes.
So again, even though this challenge is about Dion breaking 130 miles an hour, which of course is faster than the fastest club head speed ever recorded on tour, what we're saying here is even though you are at the young age of 72, there's ways in which you can tap into the body, get the body not only out of its own way, but bigger sources of power. Because now that we're creating some elevation, what's actually happening is the trail arm is folding. So the more of this we have, so I want you to feel this for me. So hold the arm out in front of it, the side, good. So now that you have this space, let go of the club. If you go to the top of your swing, see that right arm is folding more underneath?
Mm-hmm.
Good. So the more flexion we have of the arm, the more connected we are with the big muscles of the back. Feel all this is now turned on and engaged. This is happening naturally as well. So this is what we're talking about here is the biggest power move, which is allowing that right arm to fold underneath. Where previously you were a little bit more inside and then up. Now we're actually
stop the rotation and then I would lift the club.
no question.
And I couldn't get it
You would
back.
stop the rotation, you would lift the club.
Yes.
And from here it's a
Exactly.
struggle on the way down. So, just to checkpoint this idea, yet again, all we're talking about here are symptoms. You know, the reason why posture is so important is because I could not maintain my shoulder engagement if I had all this curvature in my spine. That's why primary tilt is so important. I could not keep my shoulder engagement if I did not have secondary tilt. And of course, with driver, I need more secondary tilt because the ball positions more forward in my stance. I want to catch it on the way up. If my shoulder's out of its socket, what can I not do? Pull from my shoulder blade, which is where I'm not creating any pressure shift. I'm not creating any centrifugal force. That's why posture becomes so important, and that's why
So
for
these
me,
are just natural sequences
these are
of the
natural
body. When you say
sequences
symptoms,
of the
it's
body
natural.
based upon your posture. So as long as your golf swing starts with the pulling action, the 2-inch pulling action of your right shoulder blade, everything's set into motion already. So of course, awesome. So of course we're going to talk about natural downswing sequences and how to create more pressure, how to create more power in the downswing. But what we're doing is taking a look at each and every layer of the golf swing and saying, hey, what can we do to optimize how our body can move to create instantly more speed without spending time in the gym or spending hours trying to relearn a motor function in the downswing. Because for those of us who've heard in the past, hey, it's a power move to drop the club, back into the slot in the downswing, right? 100%. That's nothing more than creating more of this external rotation in your downswing while you are shifting into your heel, while you're creating more secondary tilt.
Okay.
We're doing all this stuff already from the beginning. 100%. Makes everything a whole lot easier. So, what we're going to dive into next is power move number 4. But just to checkpoint the stuff we talked about so far, we talked about your primary tilt, which is hinging your thighs back, weight over the ankle, spine more neutral. Secondary tilt, shoulder engagement, bumping your hip until the hand reaches the club. What we're talking about here is, so far, 3 moves of your backswing, which is the pulling action of your right shoulder, which brings the club back. That plus secondary tilt equals your pressure shift. If you let the rotation occur, the club is going to want to elevate in front of you. Power move number 4 is understanding how the trail arm works in the golf swing, which is what the next video is going to be all about. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's dive deeper.